Warning. The language used on The Real Rush may be offensive to some viewers. Don't say I didn't fucking warn you.
Finally, the rush has come back! Wait, come back! The rush ain't never left!
This is for the WWF Championship!
Bang your head to the opening riff if you smell what the rush is cooking.
Shut up and sit down.
Here it comes! The most electrifying move in sports entertainment history! The People's Elbow!
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to the Real Rush, back here to lay the smackdown on all y'all Rudy Poocanty asses out there with episode 84 of the Real Rush right here on YouTube. I am your boy J-Dub. Not only is this episode 84, but this actually marks the 67th consecutive episode of The Real Rush without any weekends missed. So, I mean, that's a streak all its own. That ain't no records to be broken, because we steadily setting records with every passing weekend here on The Real Rush, y'all. Speaking of keep it fresh, look at this fly-ass rock jersey, y'all. Fresh as hell. Well, I wouldn't say, ultimately fresh. I keeps it fresh. It's about 20 years old now. This is actually one of the things that I got back in the year 2000. Cause we celebrating a certain birthday today. It being episode 84. Today being Saturday, May 2nd, 2020, 2K20. It's actually like 6:30 in the morning as we film this here right now, here on The Rock's 48th birthday. That's like you take episode 84, and you switch, you take 84, you take 84, you take the number 84, you shine it up real nice. You turn that sumbitch sideways, you get 48, and that's how old The Rock is today. Happy birthday, Mr. Johnson. Your boy got this jersey back in the year 2000. Now, I cannot remember, however, if this is one of the things that I bought up at WWF New York and went broke buying within 5 minutes. 5 minutes up at WWF New York, or if I bought it at WWF Backlash just a couple weeks later on that year. And it being The Rock's birthday today, you know we gonna have a special rock bottom section highlighting some of the man's movies a little bit later on in this episode. But seeing as we got 8 movies on the ticket here for y'all this weekend, let's go ahead and get on down to the brass tacks of the movies that we have reviewed for y'all this weekend. And I want to go ahead and kick things off with brand new feature from director Eliza Hittman, director of Beach Rats, which we saw in September 2017 in season 1 of The Real Rush. Great, phenomenal, outstanding movie. If you have not seen it, I can't stress enough that it is something that you must check out as soon as humanly possible. But her new joint is what we're about to review for y'all right here, right now. And that joint is called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always follows a couple of days in the life of a teenager, small town Pennsylvanian teenager named Autumn, played by Sydney Flanagan, who discovers that she's pregnant. Now, her being 17 at the time, she already is struggling with, is she ready? Is she fit to be a mother? And she struggles with whether or not she wants to follow through with the pregnancy and the days that comes after her pregnancy announcement from the test, for lack of a better term. Wow. Amazon Prime had this listed as PG. I found it as PG-13 on Google. I'm definitely leaning towards it being PG-13 from what we were seeing in this movie. It is heavy and brooding at times, but it's definitely a raw look at real life situations that many have probably faced. However, not really often openly talked about. And that seems to be, judging from her previous movie Beach Rats, a recurring theme from Eliza Hittman. Now, while it's not as intense as Beach Rats was, it still packs quite an emotional punch. The topic at hand that it deals with, and the way that it deals with it, and the fact that it's not quite, I mean, it's hard hitting, but it's not that hardcore to the point where it's devastating to audiences. I would actually say that this would be suitable for high school educational purposes, in my honest opinion. I liked really how this movie tackles making the best out of a tough situation, and how it takes a somewhat in-depth look at small town life, including family life, which the lack of family life, and looking at the support of certain family members given the situation at hand, the shaming that comes with such a situation, and even the unwanted advances that aren't really openly talked about in real life situations coming from that of a small town. I will most certainly be checking out director Hittman's earlier works previous to Beach Rats, following seeing this movie as soon as I can. I can't stress this next part enough here, y'all. Same as the star of Beach Rats, Harris Dickinson. I said it after I saw Beach Rats 3 years ago. Keep that man on your radar. Seen him in a few movies since. Same as Mr. Dickinson. Keep actress Sydney Flanagan on your radar, y'all. And also, same as Beach Rats, this offers quite a deep character, very in-depth character study of her character, Autumn. So, never rarely, sometimes always. It's currently available under the Prime Video cinema label, in-home cinema that they have going on. $20 rental, worth every penny that I spent on that rental. I suggest you do the same. Just know it is not a bright movie, so just be prepared to see some hard-hitting fare there, but an all-out great movie. All-out great movie. I can't stress that enough, y'all. Never really, sometimes ever. Check it out as soon as possible. Moving right along to what's next on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. Of course, you know, given the lack of new movies over the last couple weeks, given the current situation that we're in, we've been doing throwback reviews. And one of the reviews that I want to touch base on, and this was actually inspired by the fact that I noticed that during my HBO preview a couple weeks ago, free preview a couple weeks ago, that this had been showing, and looks to be showing on the HBO Cinemax channels on quite heavy rotation. This is a movie that not only did we peep in season 2 of The Real Rush back in 2018, but I named it as one of the top 11 movies of 2K18, and in my honest opinion, one of the most important films of the 2010s. And this movie right here that I'm about to talk to y'all here about is called Blindspotting. Blindspotting stars Daveed Diggs and Raphael Casal as lifelong best friends from Oakland, CA. Colin and Miles. Diggs playing Colin, Casal playing Miles. Now Colin, he's facing his last 3 days of his probation, And within those last 3 days, he witnesses the shooting and killing of an unarmed black man by a white police officer. This movie's definitely tackling some issues that we've had to deal with in real life within the last couple years. And it follows the inner turmoil that he has to go through, racial profiling and things of that sort, within the next couple days before he hits freedom. But not only that, he's trying to keep his head above water, so that way not only is he trying, avoid getting into trouble before his last day, before he comes off of probation, but he's trying to, lead a straight life from that point going forward, and trying to keep his best friend Miles, who's quite hard-headed and quite hot-headed at the same time, from getting him into more shit. Blindspotting. Giving this a second viewing just earlier tonight, as a matter of fact, or earlier today, however you want to say it. I noticed that it's reminiscent of a Spike Lee film style. It's super lyrical and poetic. It's a super lyrical and poetic style of filmmaking, unlike that I had never seen before I had seen this movie up at the Angelica just 2 years ago. It's outright hilarious, yet heart-stoppingly intense at times. It takes a look at the quote-unquote real Oakland versus the gentrified, refurbished Oakland. And this is also a passion project, as I mentioned a couple moments ago. David and Raphael are actually from real-life best friends from Oakland, CA. This was a passion project for them. They wrote the movie, they starred in it, and as I stated, real-life best friends. It takes a deep look at true best friends for life. What does blindspotting mean? I'm not going to give the definition of blindspotting away to y'all. You have to see this fucking movie. And man, the ending is one in such that will move you in a way unlike you've never felt before coming off the screen, y'all. It got a standing ovation at the Angelica the night that I saw it. I gave it a damn standing ovation again watching it earlier before this telecast. Do not sleep on this movie. I can't stress that enough. That's why I wanted to bring this up, and I'm glad that I saw that it was on the HBO schedule. It does look like that. I think it's HBO's Signature that's going to be showing this on the 7th. So I believe that's next Thursday, or this coming Thursday. So definitely catch the unedited version while you can. But one of the main reason that I wanted to bring this movie up is because that even though it looks like it's getting heavy rotation, and even though it opened up to astounding reviews when it came out 2 years ago, I feel like this is still a somewhat to widely overlooked movie. And the reason that I say this is that no matter how many times that I mention this movie, every time I bring it up, it's like people are like, I've never heard of this movie. Tell me more about it. Or just outright, even if I don't bring it up, I've never heard anybody outright say, hey, have you heard of this movie Blindspotting? I've never heard anybody mention this movie. Hence, I feel like if people see it on their channel lineup or whatever streaming service that this may be playing on, I feel like this is something that might just be skipped right over. But I can't stress enough, this is not one to be slept on. It will make you laugh. It will hit you hard at times. It will touch you, and it will bring a tear to your eye. It brought a tear to my eye. Second time, first time even harder watching it. Blindspotting. Once again, do not sleep on this movie, y'all. Check it out where you can find it. Moving right along to what's next up on this episode's Real Rush Tickets. It's a movie that actually came out back in... I don't want to bring the movie up so y'all don't see it here. This came out in 2012. Yes, it did. 2012. But we didn't see it till now. And unfortunately, it took the passing of, in my eyes, legendary actor Irfan Khan from a few days ago rest in peace, good sir, for me to go ahead and pop this in. I had the 4K of this movie sitting there, staring me in the face for the longest time. And now I finally got the opportunity to sit down and watch the movie. The movie that we are about to review for y'all here right now is called Life of Pi. The Life of Pi? The Rock's life story would be called The Life of Poontang Pi. And Life of Pi is about, it tells the story of a young teenage man coming from India with his family from India to Canada so they can relocate not only their family but their zoo from India to Canada. But along their voyage, the ship gets wrecked and he gets stuck on a lifeboat with a ferocious Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. And this movie takes a really good look at not only how they have to more or less live with one another until they get rescued or until they can survive the ordeal, but it shows the unlikely bond that is made between man and beast. This has got to be one of the, if not the, best survival films that I have ever seen in my life. It's visually captivating. The 4K itself is absolutely beautifully stunning. I can only imagine what this could have looked like on a big theater screen. Maybe when theaters do open up, if they start to show a little bit older movies to get a little bit more revenue in, maybe this will be on one of their tickets, yet I digress. The screenplay of this movie, and maybe even the book that it's based off of, which I haven't read yet. We'll talk about the movie right here, but the pages of the screenplay actually seem to literally lift themselves from the pages to the screen. This did not feel like a 2-hour and 7-minute movie. It felt more like maybe an hour and a half, just the way that it hooked me and just took me in, y'all. It's both heartwarming and heartbreaking, and it's spiritually uplifting as hell. I cried all the way through this damn movie, y'all. Both tears of happiness and tears of joy and tears of sadness. All of it. This movie is just emotionally enthralling. I can't stress that point enough. And this movie is one that is true movie magic, y'all. This is one of those movies that leave the audience, at least it left me with that sense of, being a filmmaker, that sense of wanting to ask, how did director Ang Lee, who's already a visionary director and known for his visionary directing skills, it makes me just in awe of wanting to ask, how did he pull a movie of this magnitude off? How the hell did you film this, Mr. Lee? Once again, we lost legendary actor Irfan Khan a few days ago, and one of my best friends was absolutely right in his statement. The man had the presence on screen and had brought a range to the screen that possibly could only be matched by one of the greatest American actors of all time, in that of Tom Hanks. And it is a real damn shame that we won't be able to see any more of his work. Any of his movies that you happen to catch him in, or that you happen to see him having a starring role in, cash that in, y'all. A couple that come to mind, Jurassic World, he was in that. And from just 2 years ago that we also saw in Real Rush Season 2, Puzzle. Very overlooked, but such a charmingly sweet movie in itself. Definitely check those out when and where you can find them. But yet I digress. Life of Pi. Watch this on the highest quality disc that you could find. Watch it on the highest quality disc. I say that because even though when you go to stream a movie, even though it says, yeah, it's streaming in high definition. Yeah, it's streaming in 4K, high definition range, HDR, what have you. Listen to your boy on this one. The streaming quality is never that. It's never that true HD potential 4K quality like you're gonna get from a straight disc. So I cannot stress this part enough. If you're gonna watch Life of Pi, watch it in the highest quality possible. Get yourself the 4K. I picked this up at Best Buy, I believe, for like $14.99 just about a year and a half ago. And you will not be disappointed that you made that purchase, y'all. If you had not seen that movie yet, like I said, if you haven't not seen this movie yet, like I said, this is my first time seeing it. I can't believe that I waited this long to see it. But like a lot of movies that we've been reviewing as of late, a lot of throwback movies, it's, you know, it seems like it's in the cards that it was waiting for me. It was almost waiting for me in the wings to see this, to wait to see this movie to review for y'all here in 2020 while we going through these times. And this is a perfect movie to uplift your spirits during the rough times that we going through, y'all. Life of Pi, order the disc. When it comes, pop it in, enjoy yourselves, and be emotionally filled by this movie, y'all. Life of Pi, cash it if you haven't seen it. Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, let's get down to some gritty crime shit. And we gonna talk about the movie that was actually our season finale of season 1 of The Real Rush. And the name of this movie is called Den of Thieves. Den of Thieves stars Gerard Butler as an LA sheriff who leads an elite squad of Los Angeles sheriffs who are known for some hard-nosed tactics and taking down the bad guys, even calling themselves the bad guys in the process. When a crew of robbers, of bank robbers, heistmen, if you will, led by Pablo Schreiber, burst onto the scene, is up to Gerard Butler and his merry men, hard-nosed men, take down Pablo Schreiber and his bandits, his own League of Bandits down. But not only that, but this takes an in-depth look into the personal lives of both the cops and the heistmen that are seen in this film as well. This movie also stars 50 Cent as well as O'Shea Jackson Jr., aka Ice Cube Jr. And I know what a lot of y'all are thinking, because I thought the same thing. If you've already seen this movie, I thought the same thing after seeing this movie, y'all. The premise alone, as I just described it, sounds pretty similar to that of Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, right? Well, you wouldn't be wrong at that. However, this movie, I feel, is definitely grittier and quicker paced than that of Heat. The regular version of this movie runs in at 2 hours 20 minutes. I just watched this for the second time a few nights ago. The unrated version, that is. That's what I just watched for the first time a few nights ago. That runs in at 2 hours and 29 minutes. It's 9 minutes longer. I couldn't tell any major differences from the first theatrical viewing. So, what the hell? Oh, I don't even know what the hell I wrote there. So we just gonna skip right over that part there, y'all. I feel like this is more action-packed than that of Heat, just because it is quicker paced. And difference between this and Heat is that this has a twist that will absolutely leave y'all asses reeling. And last I heard, there was a sequel in the works for this shit, and if that is still remaining true, hopefully when we get through all this and production resumes on whatever movies still need to be produced, hopefully that is still the case, because I do want to see a sequel to this very joint right here, right now. But for the time being, this just popped up on the Netflix radar as of yesterday. So if you have not seen Den of Thieves yet, go ahead, Netflix, and chill it the hell up, and you will strap yourself in and take a deep seat, because this shit will have you for a ride, y'all. Den of Thieves. Check this shit out. Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, obviously, since I just reviewed Den of Thieves for y'all, I'd be quite remiss if I did not go ahead and do an even further throwback and review that of one of the greatest crime movies, possibly the greatest crime movie of all time, which is that of Heat. And Heat follows Al Pacino, who stars as LAPD detective Vincent Hanna, who is hot on the trail of career heistman Robert De Niro and his merry band of bandits in this movie. And that's all I'm going to tell you about this movie, because this movie's so classic that I don't want to give away too much of it. But just as same as Den of Thieves, not only does it take a look at, you know, the police procedure and the crime procedure between Robert De Niro and Al Pacino's characters, that being Neil McCauley, career heistman, and Vincent Hanna, LAPD obsessed detective Vincent Hanna. But it also takes a deep look into their personal lives as well. This also has quite the stacked cast. You got Val Kilmer up in this joint, Amy Brenneman, Diane Venora, Ashley Judd, Michael T. Williamson, Wes Studi, Ted Levine, and John Voight, and Tom Sizemore, just to name a few. Not only is this arguably the best crime saga movie of all time, head to toe, but it's hard to top this movie here, y'all. And so that being said, I believe that this movie will remain as arguably the best crime movie of all time for quite a while. But not only that, this has arguably the best shootout scene in film history. Now, the reason that I said that Den of Thieves was a little bit quicker paced than that of Heat is Heat has a running time of 2 hours and 50 minutes. But the same as Den of Thieves, this doesn't feel like a near 3-hour movie. This still feels like it's just over 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours at the very most. Throwback story, y'all. So this movie came out when I was in 8th grade. And one of my boys from 8th grade saw the movie. And as soon as he said that he saw the movie, he said that, man, this movie's like 3 hours long. It was boring as hell. Don't go see that shit, man. But the second that he saw that it was 3 hours, and I knew that it had Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in it, not only did it have Pacino and De Niro in it, but even at that time, I knew that this was the first time in film history that Pacino and De Niro would ever be sharing the screen together. Shit, I was sold on it. I didn't see it until about a year later when I was in 9th grade, but once I did see it and it premiered on HBO, which was how I saw it, instantly hooked, asked for it for Christmas present later on, just a few weeks later, as a matter of fact, December '96, got the two tape edition, the widescreen edition, still sitting up on my goddamn Rush Vault shelf as we speak here, y'all. And this is one of those life-changing movies in my personal dub film history. Man. A little bit of trivia for y'all. According to Al Pacino, he stated in an interview just a few years ago, and this doesn't give anything away about the movie, but he stated that his character, Vincent Hanna, he's coked up the entire time in this movie. So if you've seen this movie, I want to know your thoughts on that, if you noticed it. And if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know if that'll change your perspective or not, but Heat, not only possibly the greatest crime saga movie of all time, but easily one of the greatest movies of all time. This was directed by Michael Mann, the man who created Miami Vice, the man who has brought us a lot of gritty crime sagas over his storied career. This is one not to miss. Most certainly catch it where you can find it. I'm sure you can find it on any streaming service possible. I found this Blu-ray. This is the director's definitive edition. I found this by accident. Didn't even know the shit exists. This edition came out in 2017. I found it in the Blu-ray bin up at Best Buy. So check your bestbuy.com, whatever, wherever, to find this Blu-ray. There might even be a 4K release of this movie out by now. I would suggest watching this movie, same as Life of Pi, in the highest quality disc format possible if you cannot find it on streaming format. But most certainly, this is not one to be missed if you haven't seen it, y'all. Heat, check it the hell out, y'all.
Rock bottom! Rock bottom! Rock bottom! Rock bottom! Get the pin rock! 1, 2. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Adam Cole just kicked out of a people's elbow and a rock bottom.
So let's rock and roll the hell on now that we're here in our rock bottom segment of episode 84. Once again, turn that sumbitch sideways, you get 48, and that's what we doing to celebrate Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's 48th birthday today, fellow Taurus, Brahma Bull. That's right, we're the nicest guys in the universe that you never want to piss off, y'all. Ask any Taurus and they'll tell you the same shit. I picked 3 movies starring The Rock to review for y'all here this weekend, whatever. 2 of these movies I didn't even see until for the first time this weekend. One of them I watched last night. The other one, the last one that we're going to review for you, I just watched just about an hour or 2 before coming on this telecast here for y'all. So what we're going to kick off the rock bottom segment here with is one of my favorite, easily in my top 3 favorite rock movies, right next to The Rundown, and Faster, and this joint is called Central Intelligence. And Central Intelligence stars Dwayne Johnson along with Kevin Hart, as we got Kevin Hart in here as a high school, he was the man back in high school, y'all. He was the man back in high school. Fast forward 20 years later, just a mild-mannered accountant, man. Now that's Kevin Hart. And where's The Rock fit in all this? Well, 20 years ago in high school, Rock was a chubby little geek. And now 20 years later, he's chubby little geek turned into rock hard, strong CIA agent. And these two men team up on the weekend of their 20-year high school reunion to solve a conspiracy that may or may not be involving the CIA and may or may not get them killed in the process, but at the same time is this newfound, strong man that The Rock is playing. Is he all that he's really cracked up to be to Kevin Hart's character, or is there still something lurking beneath the surface that he ain't telling Kevin Hart's character here? Like I said, man, this is one of my favorite all-time rock movies here. This is one that I saw twice the weekend that it came out, and I just watched it for the 3rd time ever just a few days ago. But that was the first time that I watched the unrated version. So let's go ahead and break this shit here down for y'all. Let's break down Central Intelligence as a whole, then we'll get down between the differences of the theatrical and the unrated version here for y'all. So first up, this is the movie that brought the Rock Heart connection to life. That's why we got the Jumanji movies, and that's why this is the movie that started the chemistry in between the two that we've all come to enjoy and love over the last couple years. So if that's not enough to sell you on this movie, I don't know what else the hell would be. The Rock, Mr. Johnson, is pure, man. Pure comedy gold in this film every single time that he steps onto the screen. And quite honestly, The Rock makes this movie, in my honest opinion. I don't think that anybody else could have done it any better than good old Dwayne. Now, the unrated version is it's 9 minutes longer than that of the theatrical version. Now, I will admit, this is one of those movies that, when I saw it in the theater, and since I did see it twice that weekend, the first time I saw it, with a complete clear mind. The second time I saw it that weekend, not so much. A little bit of the, you already know. You already know. If you watched any of the episodes from All Month 420, then you already know what happened in that scenario. And that's actually what I meant to say about Dead of Thieves a couple moments ago, watching that the first time. We already know how that went down first time. I feel like I don't need to explain that to y'all any further. However, because of that, well, not even because of that, but I did notice I had noticed a huge difference in between the theatrical version and the unrated versions of this movie. The unrated version of this movie almost seems like a completely different version. It's like that they took multiple scenes and just filmed them differently, and that makes a huge difference in my honest opinion and in my eyes between the theatrical version and the unrated version, both of which are on this Blu-ray that I'm holding right now. What is included more in the unrated version? Well, there's a fuck ton more fucks said in it. That's for damn sure. Man, are there a fuck ton more fucks said in it. There is some hilariousness in the added scenes, and it does seem, like I said in my review of the extended edition of Pineapple Express during All Month 420 last month, that they did seem a little bit more improv driven. However, it does draw the movie out just a little bit more overall. Knowing the difference between it, I gotta say that it doesn't necessarily help, more or less, the flow of the movie. However, if you haven't seen this movie yet, the unrated version is definitely worth peeping before you peep the theatrical version, so that way if you only have access to the theatrical version going forth from that point on, then you're not going to be necessarily missing anything, and you'll probably get a little bit of a better movie in the theatrical version, in my honest opinion. But peep the unrated version first, then the theatrical version, so that way you're getting a little bit more of a fresh feel for it in that second time viewing, because this is definitely worth a multiple viewing. Same as I stated about multiple comedies during my All Month 420 reviews last month. This is one of the comedies, and this is the main reason why I didn't watch this movie again until just a few days ago. Not only for purposes of Rock's birthday, so we can review it for you here, y'all, on episode 84 of The Real Rush right here on YouTube, but this is one of those comedies that, same as I said about like Friday and Pineapple Express and so on and so forth, that I try not to watch too many times because, and this is just my own, like, from lack of a better term, fear that I have, that if I watch it too many times that it'll lose its funny appeal. Is that the same for everybody? I don't know. You tell me. Give it multiple viewings like it'll make you want to do, and you let me know on that shit. Most certainly, and this is between both versions, stay for the outtakes at the end. They're just as funny as the whole movie itself. In the unrated version, I did notice that there was one outtake that was added at the very end, and it is fucking hilarious, double hilarious, triple, quadruple, quintuple hilarious, y'all. Central Intelligence. Check it out when and where you can if you have not seen it yet. And if you have seen it, chances are you probably haven't seen the unrated version. So let's make this our topic of discussion for this episode right here, right now, The Real Rush. If you've seen the theatrical version but have not seen the unrated version, or if you have seen both versions, let me know what you thought about your differences in between the two movies, and we'll get the discussion, the convo going from there. Central Intelligence, either way, check it the hell out, y'all. Moving right along, going to this rock bottom section. I can still do the eyebrow. I love it. I can still do the eyebrow, y'all. Can I do both of them? I don't know. Yep, I can do both of these shits. Hell yeah. Moving right along on the rock bottom section of this episode right here, right now, y'all, is a film, animated film, voiced by the likes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and I'm about to fuck your name up, miss. I hope not. I do apologize. Auli Quivalo. And just from that, you know we're about to get down to the brass tacks here, y'all. The name of the movie that I am talking here about is Moana. And this movie, this charming little movie right here, follows the title character of Moana as she teams up with the demigod of Maui, who's named Maui, voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They team up to save the life of the people as she knows it on her quaint island. And that's all I want to give y'all about this movie. Because that's the plot about the movie right there. I don't want to give too much away, y'all. Good God. Shit. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to give the whole damn thing away. Oh, man. The thing is coming off here. I like to keep the cardboard part that comes with these magnificent Best Buy exclusive steelbooks as fresh as possible. Hence, I like to actually keep them on there. But for purposes of this, let's go ahead and take this off here, so you can actually see the steelbook here in all of its magnificent glory. So let's get on down to the brass tacks of this movie itself. So, Moana. Overall, I wouldn't call it one of Disney's best animated films. However, it is definitely far from being any of its worst films. It's decent for adults, but it's definitely better suited for the kids. I feel like I would have enjoyed this movie a little bit better about 20, 25, 30 years ago, but that's not to say that it's not enjoyable in the least. I did find it to be quite meta, hence it's self-referential, and that's one of the things that I really did enjoy about this movie, and that's one of the key points that I think adults will pick up on and enjoy about this movie itself, and even in the song numbers. And one of the defining factors when it does come, especially to Disney animated musical movies, is not only the song numbers itself, but how, for lack of a better term, how forced they feel, how often they pop up on the frequency of the dance numbers, and how well they fit into the movie. Now, I gotta say that they were pretty well fitting into this movie. Not only that, but the songs themselves must have been good, because they got stuck in my head after I got finished watching this the other night and tried to go to sleep and couldn't go to sleep after that because they just were on repeat in my head. But in a good way, you know. Going on in my head. You're welcome. Yeah. Hell yeah. Same as Central Intelligence, y'all. The Rock makes this movie. Outright hilarious voicing demigod Maui, yo. And this looks absolutely luscious in all of its 4K glory. So we know that you can find this on Disney Plus, y'all. But same as I stated in my review of Life of Pi here a couple moments ago, you're not gonna get the straight up, that hardcore, that true HD 4K quality if you stream it. Now, if that's your only means of seeing this movie at this time, by all means, go ahead, enjoy it with your family. But if you can't get your hands on this outright stunning, I don't know if Best Buy has any more of these awesomely exclusive steelbooks left, but if you can get your hands on any 4K copy of this movie, that's most certainly the way to go in watching this movie here, y'all. And, ooh, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but I picked up on a Wreck-It Ralph Easter egg during the ending credits. And speaking of the ending credits, you want to make sure that you stay through the entire ending credits. Another point of reference to this movie that I wanted to bring up here with y'all. Not only the Dwayne The Rock Johnson kick ass with his voice as Maui in this movie, but listen out for Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords in this movie here. You'll get a kick out of his shit in this movie as well, y'all. So, Moana. If you've seen it already, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Round up the family. Perfect family fare here, y'all. And y'all love it. Moana, check it the hell out. And last but most certainly not least, not only on this episode's Real Rush ticket, but to wrap up this episode's special Rock Bottom segment in honor of the man's 48th birthday, I want to get down to the brass tacks to a movie that one of my best friends, Jeremy, miss you, brother. He had been trying to get me on this movie for the longest time. And I bought this movie at 7-Eleven. I found it at 7-Eleven a few years back. And I kept saying, yes, I'm going to see it, I'm going to watch 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 it. But then started the real rush, started going to the movies. There were a lot of movies that I'm still trying. I got a whole fucking stack of movies that I'm still trying to catch up on here. I just saw Life of Pi, as I stated a couple moments ago. But yet I digress. I'm glad that my boy Jay was so hardcore about getting me onto this movie, because he was not wrong in his assessments on this shit. The movie that we gonna wrap things up here with on this episode's Real Rush Ticket and this Rock Bottom segment is called Southland Tales. Southland Tales takes place in the mid-2000s in a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles. The city, not only the city, but the nation itself is on the verge of socio-economic upheaval. Shit is about to go nuts nationwide. Because it's taking place in a post-apocalyptic land, the government, it's a little bit different than it was as we knew it before shit went crazy. Is it starting to sound a little bit familiar? What might be going on here? Yet I digress. So, you got The Rock in this movie, starring his action star, Boxer Santaros, who's battling with one hella case of amnesia, and his life is intertwining with that of porn star turned, I'm gonna go ahead and say wannabe reality television star, Krista Now, played by the lovely and always beautiful Sarah Michelle Gellar, as well as Hermosa Beast police officer Roland Taverner, played by Sean William Scott. This movie actually reunites The Rock and Sean William Scott as they started together a few years earlier in 2003's The Rundown, which I stated is one of my top 3 Rock favorite films. Yet I digress. Southland Tales. Wow. This movie is an acquired taste. I cannot stress that enough. But we're going to get down to why it's an acquired taste here in a second. I found Southland Tales to be quite abstract and out of this world, much like that of Donnie Darko. This is directed by the man who directed Donnie Darko, Mr. Richard Kelly. Newport News boy. What's up, Virginia boy? What's up, dog? But unlike Donnie Darko, well, not unlike Donnie Darko, I would say polar from Donnie Darko, this is definitely lighter in tone than that of Darko. I want to call this, it's almost like if you were to put my quote up on the screen, if I ever get established enough and, you know, they rerun this movie and, you know, I get to have my movie review quote pop up in the trailer for this shit, it would state it's almost like Strange Days meets Brazil, but for the apocalypse. And I'm going to leave it at that without giving too much away. It does have a good, quirky mix of humor, sci-fi, noir, mindfuck, and soap opera, all rolled into 2 hours and 24 minutes. And just the same as the earlier movies that we reviewed here a couple moments ago, this does not feel like a nearly 2.5 hour movie. It feels like it's more closer to about the 2 hours range, give or take about 10 minutes. Like I stated, I just watched this a few hours ago. And this is hands down one of The Rock's best roles to date. Still to this day. This movie came out 2005, 2006. Still to this day, 15 years later, I can honestly say with this first viewing, one of his best roles. Not to mention, it has a ridiculously stacked cast. We already mentioned Johnson, Gellar, and Scott. Who else you got in this movie? You also have Nora Dunn, Christopher Lambert, John Larroquette, Bai Ling, John Lovitz, Mandy Moore, Holmes Osborne, Sherry O'Terry, Amy Poehler, Lou Taylor Pucci, Miranda Richardson, Wallace Shawn, Kevin Smith, and Justin Timberlake, to name just a few. There's still even more than that pops up in this movie that's like, holy shit. Speaking of which, I noticed that there's a little bit of an Eli Roth cameo in this movie. So if you haven't seen this joint, see if you could pick him out amongst the crowd in this movie here. It does have a killer score by the one and only Moby. Overall, I found this to be pretty good. However, it could be, I could see this being a bit busy or cumbersome to some. So this is definitely a movie that you want to pay attention to. Don't blink, you will miss some shit. That being said, this may be one of those movies that requires a second viewing for some. Also, much like that of Donnie Darko. And I found it this movie is about, it's not to get too much away, but it's prophecy riddled. It's prophecy driven all over the place. So, given our current situation, could it also be somewhat prophetic if, we as a people don't keep our shit together and, try not to let the government get too out of hand? Just something to think about when you peep this shit. Like I said, I found this DVD of a 7-Eleven a couple years ago, $10. I'm sure that there's got to be a Blu-ray release of this movie by this point, and there's no digression there. Definitely catch this where you can, whether it's on Blu-ray, whether it's on streaming. Check this out wherever, whenever you can. And this is another one that I want to get your thoughts on, because it is so abstract and so out there. This one's definitely gonna cause a lot of. This is definitely not only a conversation started not only for the Real Rush, but between whoever you might be watching this movie with. So give this movie a view, get a good conversation started, let your boy know what you thought about it after you saw it. Southland Tales, check it out where you can, y'all. And that, my friends, is a wrap for episode 84 of The Real Rush right here on YouTube. Please stay tuned next weekend. We're coming back with you hardcore with episode 85. What's going to be on it, I don't fucking know, y'all, but just stay tuned, assholes. If you gotta stay subscribed to The Real Rush right here on YouTube at these times, because I don't know on a week-to-week basis what the hell is going to pop up. I do know, I'm not going to let it, I'm not going to give it away, but there's a little bit of a, there was a little bit of a viewer request a few days ago, so that certain request might be popping up next week on episode 85 of The Real Rush right here on YouTube. But in the meantime, as I mentioned last week on The Real Rush, there is some bandit shit on the horizon here, y'all. Stay tuned for the details of that. But in the meantime, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any shit like that, please feel free to type those on into the comments section of the YouTube page where you are viewing this week's episode right here, right now. To everybody who has subscribed to The Real Rush right here on YouTube thus far, thank you for having done so. If you haven't done so yet, what the hell are you waiting for? You want to be the first to know when your boy not only drops a new episode, but you want to be known what the hell your boy's going to review. I'll be reviewing such random shit, like, I want to be people to react like, holy shit, he's reviewing that this week? Let me tune the hell in. The only way you're going to be able to stay up on your game on that is if you subscribe to the channel right here on YouTube, y'all. Please, as everybody should still be spreading love these days, please spread and share the word of The Real Rush. Let people know about The Real Rush, and also note that The Real Rush has awesome replay value because movies have no expiration date. Any movie that you want to know what your boy thought about and get a good, honest-to-God review of, all you gotta do is go up to the YouTube search bar at the top of the page here, type in quotation marks, The Real Rush, followed by, outside of quotation marks, the name of the movie that you're looking for, and then, boom! Instant movie review on demand for you, because your boy J-Dub and The Real Rush got y'all covered for life, son! And as always, you can follow your boy on Instagram for my live movie check-ins and updates as they occur. And you can follow your boy at J-Dub Champion, hashtag The Real Rush. And for The Real Rush, ladies and gents, I am your boy J-Dub. Thank you once again for joining us for episode 84 of The Real Rush right here on YouTube. Remember, while you're out there during these times, remember to enjoy yourselves, remember to chill. Hope that this episode find y'all all still safe and healthy, and if you ain't, then hopefully this episode finds y'all on the mend. But remember to have fun, y'all. Love J-Dub. May the 4th be with your asses this week. And
Rock ain't one to be fucking around. One more. Rock bottom. Rock bottom, Adam Cole. Rock off of the pin. 1, 2. Yes. Yes. We have a new WWF champion here on SmackDown. There was one of many spine busters. There's another one of many spine busters. First pin, second pin. Who the hell is running this shit in the production truck out there? But Adam Cole kicked out at that point from the people's elbow and a rock bottom. That was the last spine buster. Show us the goddamn it. Jameson's brother's drunk in the production truck, but who gives the fuck here tonight? Rock, Dwayne Johnson on his birthday in San Juan, Puerto Rico. San Juan Coliseum is once again your WWF champion. Show it off to the crowd, Rock. Wave that shit proudly. Not taking anything away from Adam Cole. He put up a hell of a match, but once again, we do have the People's Champ in the house. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. 7 long years since this man has held a championship in the WWF. Rock's back in the house, baby. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us for one epic SmackDown in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Good night, everybody. Have fun, y'all. Love Dub Ross McMahon. Peace out.